Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the FMF 5-Minute Farby. I've heard that hard work never killed anyone, but I say, why take the chance? That was actually a quote from our former president, Ronald Reagan. I just read online about a group therapy session where a bunch of suicidal patients asked, what makes life worth living? We are living now in the most technologically advanced society ever. The most intellectually advanced society, the wealthiest times in history. We have more stuff, more accolades, bigger buildings, faster computers, faster cars. Yet suicide, depression, anxiety is at an all-time high. I just read online the other day that there's been more mass shootings in the US in the year 2017 than days. That's pretty frightening. So what's going on? If we're so far ahead technologically and wealth-wise, why are we so far behind in ethics and morality? Something's not adding up. We just finished reading the second parsha of the Torah, Parshas Noach. Noach is derivative of the Hebrew word for menucha. Menucha means peace, calmness, tranquility. Rashi, the foremost commentator on the Torah, explains that Noach brought peace to the world long before the hippie movement of the 1960s. How did Noach bring peace to the world? Farm tools. He created farm tools. So let's explain. One of the punishments for Adam Rishon, the first man, after eating from the tree of knowledge, was that work was going to be hard. Things haven't changed in that area that much, especially in the last 5,778 years. We learn from Kabbalah when Adam ate from the tree of good and evil. The evil that we're referring to, that God is referring to in the Torah, he's not talking about demons or dictators or that type of evil. The evil, according to Kabbalah, is self-consciousness. Meaning, God turned to Adam and Chava and said, why are you covering yourself? Are you naked? How do you know you're naked? Did you eat from the tree I commanded you not to eat from? They knew they were naked before, but they didn't care because they didn't feel themselves. All they perceived around them was God. They were not self-conscious at all. Self-consciousness is not a natural state. We're supposed to be godly consciousness. In fact, all of our problems revolve around the same disease of self-consciousness. We are a society that are obsessed with ourselves. I phone, I this, I want, I deserve, I need, I. The number one reason for anger and depression, entitlement. I want something to go this way, and it didn't. It didn't go the way I wanted to. I didn't get what I wanted. And so now I'm upset. And now I'm depressed. The tiniest little curveball that God throws our way becomes a catastrophic incident if all we do is think about ourselves all of the time. What do people do when they can't cope with life, when things get too hard? When they don't get what they want or life isn't going according to the way they want? They medicate. How do they medicate? Some with drugs, some with alcohol, others with television or sports or cell phones or shopping. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the driving force behind it. It's an escape. Most people cannot sit alone with their own thoughts for more than a couple minutes. It's torture. They've got to pick up a phone, put on a TV, talk to someone. Why? This week's parsha, we learn about the first time man had to cope with the self-consciousness that the first man brought into the world. Noah, who's famous for creating the ark, one thing that's lesser known, he was also the first person to create alcohol. Noach built the first vineyard. He was the first shikker and the first person on record to get drunk because he couldn't handle himself. He wanted to return to that state of pristine peace inside when all we thought about was God and all we perceived was God. For those who study the deep part of the Torah, Hasidus, we know that the work that God told to Adam is going to be hard is not just physical work. It's not just physically working the land of the earth or for money or paycheck. It's a more important work. It's a spiritual work. It's a work of connecting to God. The beginning of Parshas Bereshit says 32 times the word Elokim. Elokim is the name God used to create the world. It means nature. In fact, it's the same gematria, the same numerical equivalent of the Hebrew word of nature, which is hateva. What does it mean? It means God concealed himself in the nature. The real word, the real way God created the world is from the name Havaya. It's a much higher level. But if that presence of Havaya was present in the world, we wouldn't be able to handle it. would be too powerful. The light would be so blinding we couldn't take it. And not only that, there'd be no free choice. Because we would perceive godliness so strong every moment, we'd never do anything wrong. The real work we have in this world is to reveal God, the name Havaya, in a world that conceals him of the name Elokim. In fact, the Hebrew word for world, ha'olam, is the same Hebrew word for concealment, helam. It's the same root. God concealed himself and he gave us the job of revealing himself. And that's what we learn about in this week's Parsha. The 7 laws of humanity. They're called the 7 laws of Noach. They're the basic building blocks of all of humanity to have a just, peaceful world. If everyone just kept these basic laws of humanity, all the destruction and terror and terrible things would just cease. Noach gave us true peace, true menucha. The true farm tools that he gave us, those true tools are called the 7 laws of Noach. They're the 7 laws that make us all partners with Hashem, partners with God. Billions of dollars are being spent every single year on climate control, on global warming. It's all nonsense. That is not the answer to our problem. They're treating the effect, not the cause. The root problem is that we do not respect God, and we do not respect God's commandments, basic laws of humanity. They're real simple. Number 1, acknowledge and believe in God. Don't pray to idols. Don't believe in idols, whether it's a wooden statue hanging on a wall, or whether it's a music star, or a TV star, or a sports star. Acknowledge and recognize that God is our creator. Number 2, respect each other. Don't take things from each other. No stealing. 3, respect each other's lives. No murder. Number 4, respect marriage. No adultery. Number 5, don't be cruel to animals. Number 6, don't curse God. Don't use God's name in vain. And number 7, respect justice. Set up court systems without corruption. Basic building blocks of humanity. The job of a Jew, and not only the job of every single person in the world, is to reveal God. That is the real work. That is why we're here. That is the whole purpose of creation. And God derives tremendous pleasure from every single one of us when we focus on our purpose, when we refocus ourselves on the real reason we're here, and we return to the real work and the real tools that Noah helped us with these 7 basic building blocks of revealing a God that conceals him. Our sages teach us that the pleasures of the soul are infinitely greater than the pleasures of the body. I've experienced some of the greatest materialistic pleasures there are, and I can tell you it's hevel haval. It means emptiness. It means nothing compared to the true pleasure of connecting to our Creator and building a meaningful relationship with our Creator. So you want purpose, you want a reason to live, you want true meaning, it's right here in front of us in this week's Parsha. It can only come from us by doing what we got put in this world to do. 7 laws for all humanity, and the Jews, we've got another 613, but we'll learn about those shortly. So what are we waiting for?